So now I have a DOS window opened up, and just make sure this is as big as possible so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And if I type in directory here, you can see I have the workspace. If you use the default, what's going to end up happening is you can just change the directory, just go to a DOS prompt, change the directory to workspace. And this is the location. This is the location in which we have all of the files that we're using in Eclipse, because Workspace is the directory location where we're storing all of our projects. And I just did a directory, a dir, and I see hello world. Don't worry about metadata. I'm not quite sure what that's all about, but let's just go into hello world. So I'm going to change the directory again to hello world. And so now I'm in hello world. If I type in dir, what do I see? I see class path, project, settings, bin, src. Well, src, that's the source code directory. And bin, that's the class file. That's the executable file that we saw. So if we go in here and we change the directory to src, actually, yeah, let's change the directory to src and take a look and see what's inside. If I type correctly, we see this file that we've seen here that we created in the IDE there. It's called myclass.java. There's where that came from. And let me show you how the Java C command works. So all that Eclipse is doing is actually creating this myclass.java. In fact, if we go out and let's change myclass.java actually. I'm going to go into Notepad actually, if I can find it. There's Notepad. And I'm going to bring that file up. So I'm going to go File, Open, and here's the hard part, finding the file. So let's see, the file is going to be in, where's the file? Documents and Settings. I'm not a Windows person. Can you tell? No. Let's do something different. Now you can really see that I'm not a Windows person. And in fact, next week's video, I'm going to start using the Mac partition again. So we have the Windows Explorer. That's my friend. And I go into the C drive, and I see Documents and Settings, and I see Owner, because that's who I am. And I go down, and I see Workspace. That's what we're looking at in DOS. And it's actually, for some of you who don't like DOS, not to say that everybody out there is a fan of DOS. Some people aren't. This might actually be an easier way versus going to the DOS prompt. I only go to DOS prompt because it's kind of easier to see it abstractly. But anyway, if I click on this little plus symbol to expand out hello world, I see the same thing I saw in the DOS prompt. If I click on the bin directory, I see a file that's in there, and it's called myclass.class. So the source code files have a .java extension on them. If I hit on this source code file and I take a look, it says myclass.java. When you compile it, it turns into myclass.class. All executable files, and I shouldn't really call them executable files because they're really binary code that's intermediate. It runs in the Java runtime environment, so it's not necessarily an executable file itself because it doesn't really contain runtime support. But for your purposes, you know, it's a compiled project file that can be run. So myclass.java will always automatically turn into myclass.class when it's compiled. And if we change this, let's say we click on it. In fact, I'm going to double click on it. Oh, and I brought it up in Notepad automatically. And I'm going to change the output so we can kind of see what happens here. Instead of saying hello world, I'm going to say hello from Barb because I'm at a loss for words. And it'll say a little exclamation point on there. Okay, so hello from Barb, and I'm going to go File, Save. So we have it. I just want to make sure I saved it. We have it. Let's exit out, and let's go back to the DOS prompt actually, because there's something to be learned from this. If I go in here and I'm just trying to remember my DOS commands, I have in here myclass.java, which is in my directory. In fact, let me make it a little smaller so we kind of put the whole window in there. And what is it? Type? Is it? No, okay, let's forget about putting it onto the screen. Can't remember what it is for DOS, but anyway, long story short, I can compile this manually. So if I type in Java C space, and make sure you're typing it in it's case sensitive. So make sure you're typing in the upper and lower case as it is appropriate. So if I type in if I type in Java C space my class dot Java, and you actually have to type in the dot Java. So I've typed in, and I'm going to slow this down a little bit so you can see what I've typed in, Java C space my class dot Java. So I wrote this in Notepad. I saved it. It's right here. It's on the screen right here. It says my class dot Java. I'm going to compile it manually is what I'm doing at this particular stage. If I do that and I press return, I get nothing. It just comes back, which is what I wanted actually. So now let's say I want to run this file, and I want to, because I don't want to use Eclipse anymore, let's say, and I want to run this totally by using Notepad and the DOS window. If I want to run it, I type in Java space, and then again we have to be case sensitive, my class. But you know what? You don't actually have to type in, and you shouldn't type in the dot class because you're going to get an error message. It assumes that it's a dot class. So when you do it, you can type in Java space my class, press return, and what did I get? I got the output of the new file that I created, and the output was hello from Barb. So you can see that I changed it in the Notepad window, and I recompiled it here using the Java C command, and when I ran it using this, it comes back and says hello from Barb, which reflects the change that I made in it. So this is one way you can actually work with the files. You don't have to use the DOS prompt. You can use Eclipse 100%, but as you've seen kind of like from my typos and everything, well, actually I really didn't have too many typos, but normally I have more typos. You can see it's actually kind of easier to use the Windows interface versus the DOS command line. Windows basically revolutionized everything. So I'm going to type in exit. I'm going to get out of this window here. And let's say, for example, you have an assignment, and well, let's say you had to do Hello World, which probably you're going to have to do something a little bit more complicated than that, I think, essentially. But what you could do at this point, however, is go to the Workspace directory, and here's your Hello World, and just take that and zip it up, PK zip it, or and compress it somehow if you wanted to, and use that as a file attachment to submit your project. And what's going to end up happening is in the bin directory, you're going to see right here, you're going to see this .class file. And I double clicked on it, and it said there was no association. You can actually set up your Windows system to associate .class files with the JVM. And what would end up happening at that point is when you double clicked on the .class file, it would bring it up and it would actually run it as a Java file. And you can do the same thing actually with the source code directory as well, so it runs Java C. But you can tell by the icons that there is no association. In fact, this class file is going to be a different one than the one we just created, from Eclipse, because it ended up in the wrong directory. So you can put them all in one directory if you want. In this particular case, this is what happened when we compiled it. We ended up with the .class file in the same directory. You can separate out the directories. It's not picky at all. When you run the commands, it just basically has to make sure it finds the files that you're looking for. Okay, I think that was enough for Hello World. In fact, what ends up happening now is we can close this window, and if we go back to Eclipse, which I believe I still left open, I did. If we went out in DOS and we changed something, and we actually edited my class. Actually, we changed it so it said Hello Barb, or from Barb instead of Hello World. If I go up into the project window and I select clean, what it's going to do actually is come through and clean everything up for me. And what it's going to do is synchronize. And I'm just going to select clean all projects. If I wanted to, I can just clean any particular project that I wanted to select. If I press OK, it's going to come through and clean it. And if I come back here and say the file has been changed on the file system. Do you want to replace it with the editors, with this? Do you want to replace the editor contents with the file that has been changed, and say yes? Now I have everything up to date. So you can actually, if you wanted to, you could sync both out of Eclipse work and in Eclipse work and make changes anywhere you wanted to. Most people, if they're going to use Eclipse, are probably just going to do everything in Eclipse. So, but I thought I'd show you the particular clean option. And we have some other options. We have build automatically set as a default, so you don't have to worry about that. Every time you select a run, it's going to build it before you run it. And so at this point, all you really want to do is, and we don't have to worry about saving it because I selected that option to save it before it ran or compiled it. So at this point, when we close Eclipse and we reopen it next time, we're going to see the project showed up there. And I think that's enough for Hello World. And next time, we're going to expand on Hello World, and we are going to build another program, a little bit more complicated. And I need to teach you a lot of stuff. I need to teach you about variables. I need to teach you about methods and classes and all sorts of different concepts. So we have a lot more to cover. So you can hopefully create your own Hello World program if you haven't done it already. It would be very good practice for you. If your Hello World program works correctly, you have no compiler errors, which is a good sign, and make sure you can move forward from that point. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for the next video.